conscious that it's performance review time at USA Hockey? Thanks, Fish. Really appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. I want to start with some thank yous. I think, as all of you know, this stuff just doesn't happen without a lot of people doing a lot of work. Our staff, Brent Seidel, our whole coaching group, all of our player development people put in so much to this to make this happen. And then we're very, very fortunate to have a partner like the Columbus Blue Jackets here in town to help host us. And then, of course, we have a ton of volunteers that are here from around the country. Our coaching program, our coaches in chief, people from all over, and especially our people in the Mid-Am district. So for all those people, we give a quick round of applause to thank them for what they do. And then I hope for all of you, yesterday was as energizing as it was for me. To come in here and just hear the presentations, listen to some amazing speakers and some people with incredible passion for our game, and totally get what happens at the grassroots level. I think that's hugely important that, when our people come up here to speak to this crowd, they get it, what you do and the importance of what you do in the grassroots all the time, all day, every day. And for them to hopefully, I think the biggest challenge you probably all face leaving this is what to do with all of this information, right? There's a ton of stuff to do, and even I was sitting back there yesterday, I'm not coaching this year, but I was like, ooh, this is a lot of stuff. How do I figure out how to make this work? And I think hopefully, you spend some time when you go home and think of how do you take all this information and make it work for you and your program and have the impact of the grassroots that we know you all have, and to make the experience even better. I think the messaging yesterday was just fantastic, all positive, right? And things that'll help you hopefully think of how to be a better coach, which makes for a better youth hockey experience. One of the biggest things in our role at USA Hockey is to grow the game. How do we get more kids to play, and then ultimately, how do we keep more kids? I think somebody said it on stage yesterday, I think it was to Phil O'Sare, his job is to make sure all those 10-year-old girls he's coaching this year come back next year. And that's huge, and that what you all deliver as coaches is what makes that happen. The experience for the kids on the ice, the experience of the families that bring their kids to the rink all the time is huge. So hopefully you figure out how to utilize all this information. And then I know you're all scattered across different programs across the country. Hopefully you can help take this information back to your program and let other coaches know the things that you've learned to help make the overall program better in every community where hockey's played. I think that's the ultimate job for USA Hockey, and we rely on all of you and many others to make that happen. And Fish had mentioned my dad, 40 years at the eight and unders is crazy, right? 8-year-olds forever. And he started with me, and then I have my brothers, and then he just stayed at the Mites. And he had two great things. He would always say, people would say, well, why didn't you ever move up to Squirts? I said, well, they never asked me to coach Squirts. So we just stuck at the Mites. And I think his other thing was, I think it was like therapeutic, right? He had 5 of us go through, and then I think it was almost like he didn't know what to do. So we just stuck around coaching the Mites, and then, he would always say, hey, I just see kids' faces like yours, they get to do this and play and have an impact, right? And I think that's, what all of you do. And again, for what we did, what my brothers and I got to do as kids, we had a great role model that Coach gave back to our community and stuff. And so I have a huge appreciation for what all of you do in your communities, for USA Hockey, for our game, for our family, for our people. So thank you, and thank you for spending time with us. 2 things that hit me yesterday, overall, from a USA Hockey perspective, listening to that message, the messages yesterday, for me, it hit me about alignment and impact. And alignment, to me, goes back to 2009 when we rolled out the American Development Model. We've always had a great organization, we've had great volunteers, we've had great players. But I think in 2009, we really pulled it all together under the American Development Model and put out what's most important to not only to USA Hockey, but hopefully for hockey across the country, for everybody to understand, let's put things into play that make it better for the kids that play. And then the end product will be better. We'll have more players, we'll have more high-end players, and I think we see that stuff playing out all the time. Again, acknowledging and thanking all of you that do that in your communities, because we can put stuff out on paper and bring people out like they're here today to do it, but then we leave and go back and move on, and you're still in your communities, you're in your rinks, you're the ones doing it. And it's had a huge impact on our organization. And I think that's where we continue to want to be leaders. We want to grow the game. We want to make sure every kid's experience is the best in the game. And then ultimately for us, our charge as an organization is to put together the Olympic and Paralympic teams every 4 years. And we do that by having a top-to-bottom organization that takes care of try hockey for free and learn to play, through coaching education, officials education, and everything in between to make the game better, stronger all across the country. And I think from the alignment of all that, from our level all the way through the grassroots system, has an impact, and hopefully continues to have an impact. And I have 2 quick slides here, if you could throw the first one up. So as many of you, we bragged about it, we'll continue to brag about it until this season kind of starts, but last year we had a historic season. And 4 gold medals, men's, women's, sled, world juniors, is incredible. Silver at U18 women's, bronze at U18 men. But all of those players don't just show up, right? They didn't just show up at the World Championship out of nowhere. They started in communities across the country. Hillary Knight on there, Sun Valley, Idaho. She grew up playing a lot in Chicago. Clayton Keller, St. Louis. Jack Wallace from our sled teams from the Philly area. All over the country. And coaches, maybe some of you in this room had these players when they were young and helped them develop to get there and develop the passion for the game, and ultimately for us have an impact at the highest level and help us win gold medals. So it was a historic season. No one's ever had those 4 gold medals in 1 year. And I think as many of you probably heard, we didn't brag a lot about this, but it had been 92 years since we won the men's world championship. Now we can say that because it's in the past. So this is kind of the impact at USA Hockey on the international level that we know is a direct result of what all of you do across the country. And so we certainly appreciate that. And again, we want to hopefully represent all of you, and hopefully all of you feel a part of that when you see our teams win, when the women win, when our men's team wins. World Juniors, we're hosting that this year in Minnesota. Hopefully many of you join us there. It's certainly an exciting time for hockey in our country, and we hope coming into this year, because we have some other big goals. You can flip to the next slide for me, please. We have the Olympics and Paralympics coming up. And we're going to be loud and proud on this throughout the year that our goal is to come back from Italy with 3 gold medals, men's, women's, and sled. Sled and the Paralympics are right after. Certainly with the passion, the energy we have around the game, the people we have, the players certainly we have, the staff we have, is a lot, to me, it's alignment and ultimately impact. And I think all of us are hopeful that we can bring back these 3 gold medals and see what sort of impact that'll have on hockey around the country. So again, thank you all for being here, spending some time with us. We really appreciate all you do, and I hope you have another great and energizing day today. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pat. I should mention too that Pat sat right in your chair for many years. He coached youth hockey for a quarter century plus, so he knows what you all go through and your contributions and what they mean. Fun to get to our next speaker. And you look at his journey, and gosh, he's been through it all. He started coaching as a GA at the Massachusetts College for Liberal Arts back in the day, Lebanon Valley, Hamilton College, each for a couple years, stints as an assistant coach at the Division I level at Ferris State and the University of Denver. He was in the USHL, head coach and GM of the Green Bay Gamblers, won the Clark Cup playoff championship in 2012, ECHL in Toledo, coach of the year's debut season, went to the American Hockey League and the Iowa Wild, of course, spent 4 great years as an assistant coach in Tampa, helped Tampa win 2 Stanley Cups, a 3-year stint as head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, and next year will be his first season up in Toronto as an assistant coach. He's an amazing coach. He's a more amazing person, and a great pleasure to turn it over to Derek Malone. Welcome, man.